Welcome friends at the Summary Club. Today we will discuss the different habits of rich people, or, as the wise men of the past used to say, about the path from poverty to wealth, through thorns to the stars. Let's talk about what's interesting to any of us, how to become rich and happy, how to learn how to do what you love so that it brings you income. Probably all of us, in one way or another, ask ourselves similar questions and try to find answers to them. Why am I not rich yet? Perhaps some of you periodically ask yourself, if I am so smart and talented, why am I still not rich? How can I use my strengths and abilities so that they bring me money? Real income? How do you make it possible to do what you really want to do and still get rich? Let's try to find answers to these questions. On the subject of poverty and wealth today, a lot of books have been written, including, by the way, the author of this wonderful channel on self-development, seminars, psychological training sessions are held to help you discover your potential that can lead to wealth. Successful people share their secrets. And my task in this case is not to say something fundamentally new on this subject, but to try to highlight the main points concerning the psychology of wealth and poverty, to understand what a person who decided to become rich should change in himself to achieve his goal, and to outline specific steps toward its implementation. What qualities and habits rich people have? To begin with, let us understand the approach to the lives of the rich and the poor. Naturally, the poor and the rich are not born, for history proves that most of the really famous, successful and rich people were not born rich, but achieved it through their abilities, and if you examine their basic universal qualities that contribute to their wealth and at the same time available to anyone, we can identify 6 basic qualities of rich people. The ability to keep one's word, and it doesn't matter whether it is given to oneself or to someone else. When a person keeps his word to himself, he feels confident and is able to achieve his goals. Such a person trusts himself more, and accordingly others around him trust him more. So in order to become rich, you have to learn to keep your word. So, for example, if you decide to get up an hour earlier or spend an hour more time at work to achieve your goals, then follow it by all means, without laying the blame on circumstances, and by learning to keep your word to yourself in this way, it will be easier for you to keep your word to others. The ability to take responsibility for your life. Rich people never think it's everyone's fault that their life is bad, but begin to take certain steps to solve their problems and make money. If there are failures, they do not blame anyone in this, but try to learn a positive lesson from the situation and still achieve success.
Subscribe to the Summary Club and watch short versions of the most popular and useful videos every day.
Doing what you love. Those who think that, in order to make more money, you have to do what is in demand right now, even if you don't like it, are very deeply mistaken. Such an approach is doomed to failure, if only because it is only what we enjoy that fills us with energy, that is what we do best, and that is what we do with great enthusiasm. How to find such a thing will be discussed below. Rich people have perseverance and determination. To become rich, you have to be persistent in all your endeavors. While the poor give up at the first sign of failure, the rich do not give up when they fail. They keep moving toward their goals in spite of the results. Just be persistent, even if you don't succeed, and you'll see the failures begin to change into successes. Rich people are not afraid to make mistakes. There will always be mistakes, and that is normal. It is necessary to learn from mistakes because they allow you to gain real practical experience, and you should be grateful to fate and yourself for them. Of course, no one enjoys making mistakes, but rich people are different from poor people because despite all the failures, they move towards their goal and achieve success and material prosperity. Therefore, one should perceive one's mistakes as an excellent opportunity to gain new experience and to develop a skill. Rich people love freedom and are willing to change their lives for it. Yes, rich people love independence, and they use it as a motivation for their achievements. They believe that it's never too late to change their lives, so they can go to get a second degree at 40 or move to another city at 50 if it's necessary to achieve their goals, to make their dreams come true. These are the basic qualities of rich people. Take a look at yourself today and determine which of them are present in you and which should still be developed. What qualities and habits poor people have? Now to finally understand how the habits of poor people differ from those of rich people, consider for comparison the main features of the psychology of the poor and the qualities that are more suitable for the poorest strata of the population, which accordingly you will have to eradicate in yourself if you really decided to get through thorns to the stars and become rich and successful, no matter what, as the rich do. Not complaining about their fate, but just doing what should be done. First of all, the habit of poor people is to complain constantly about life. The poor person constantly thinks that he was born in the wrong country, in the wrong family, if it is a woman, she married the wrong man, and in general thinks that he is chronically unlucky in life, while the rich person thinks how to fix it. The second, which is closely related to the first, is that the poor believe that they owe everything. The state must provide free housing and medicine, control prices, the employer must pay a decent wage, etc. The list could go on. Of course, I must admit that all of these demands are fair in many ways, but at the moment they are very difficult to implement, so the best way out is to take responsibility for yourself, accepting as a given that no one owes me anything. The next feature of the psychology of poverty is a low-paying, unloved, but stable job. A poor person constantly berates, curses his work, bosses, colleagues, comes home as a squeezed-out lemon, but does not look for anything else, considering that it is better this way, but stable. And this quality is inextricably linked to the following: fear of change. A poor person is afraid of the unknown in a new place, fear of failure in a new job. He believes that it is too late to change anything, because everything new is always a risk. Low self-esteem. The poor person believes that he does not deserve anything better, he has no connections, that nothing depends on him in life, etc. From this follows also passivity and inaction. When one day is like another, all this has been going on for several years, but we still do not want to change anything. These are the basic qualities and habits that distinguish poor and rich people, but we do not end here, and in the next video on the psychology of wealth, we will describe how you can change and develop them, but for now as homework, determine what of them is present in you today. And if you really decided to change your destiny and become rich, there is only one way out: stop complaining about fate and assume that nothing depends on you, and take responsibility for yourself, choose the direction in which you want to move and go in it without fear of change. And then, gradually life will turn to you the most unexpected sides, and you will discover the abilities that you did not know. And friend, don't forget to subscribe to the Summary Club for becoming more successful, educated, kinder and wiser every day. Save hundreds of hours and dollars spending on boring regular education. Feel free to write your opinions and questions about each video. We read all the comments. In addition, go to our official website, where you can find reading materials or watch other videos on channel and links in the description. All the best.